I recently received a comment from someone, probably in his 20s, who shared a heartbreaking question. Why would God allow my 6-year-old sister to die from such a horrible cancer? He continued, and don't tell me God's just going to make the best of it. His honesty was clear. He was devastated, angry, and questioning, yet I could tell that he still wanted to believe. This is one of the toughest questions anyone of faith will ever face, and many of us will eventually find ourselves asking similar questions. At some point, we'll all look around at the suffering in the world, the wars, the diseases, the poverty, the injustice, and wonder, where are you, God? How could you let this happen? Or even, why is this happening to me? We're told time and again that God is a God of love, that He loves us like His own children, that He is all good, all powerful, and can do anything. And yet, we're left wondering, why doesn't He intervene? Why doesn't He do something? If I had the power to stop such things, I wouldn't let them happen to my children. This leads us to the painful idea that if there is a God, He must either be a cruel, sadistic deity who enjoys watching us suffer, or He must be weak, unable to do anything, even if He wanted to. Or maybe He's just a cold, indifferent God who doesn't care about us or anyone else. For some, these thoughts are buried deep down, and they continue with their religious routines, even though the question gnaws at them. For others, it sparks anger and rebellion. They turn away from faith, saying, I don't want anything to do with this God. Regardless of the response, faith is shaken. The truth is, there really is no easy answer to what we call the problem of evil. It's not a question that can be answered in a simple way, because its very nature transcends human understanding. Sure, many of the greatest minds have tried to explain it, but they knew they were venturing into deep waters that we cannot fully comprehend. And no matter how clever the arguments may sound, they won't satisfy a family who has just buried their 6-year-old, or a woman who has been brutalized, or the millions who starve every day. Even C.S. Lewis, who wrote some of the most compelling arguments about the problem of evil, struggled with the loss of his beloved wife, writing that it felt like a vile practical joke. In those desperate moments, when we go to God for comfort, it can feel as though the door is slammed in our faces, bolted from the inside, with nothing but silence. But for me, the only satisfactory answer I've ever found to this question comes from a figure in the scriptures, someone who truly suffered and who questioned just like we do. His name was Job. He was known as a man of unwavering integrity, upright and blameless in his ways, a man who feared God. And yet, Job experienced unimaginable loss. He lost his family, his wealth, his health, and even the respect of his peers. His disease was so repulsive that his friends couldn't even look at him. He lay in the ashes, scraping his body with broken pieces of pottery, asking, "Why, God?" Job, in his suffering, expressed his pain with raw honesty, saying, "My days have passed, and I have no hope. My body is covered in scabs, my flesh decays, and I'm left alone in my misery." Yet, in his suffering, he never denied the existence of a higher power. Despite his agony, he still clung to the possibility that there was meaning and purpose to his pain. The most profound answer we can find lies in the story of Job's endurance, faith, and ultimate redemption. Job's suffering continued, and he declared, "I shall never see happiness again." His friends, well-meaning but misguided, came with all the clever arguments in the world, but none of them satisfied him. The internal conflict and rebellion only grew, and eventually, Job lashed out in his anguish, "How could you let this happen to me? I am innocent. I did nothing wrong. I did everything right." God's response came through a storm. "Who is this that questions my wisdom? Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Have you commanded the morning since the days began? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Do you have the wisdom to command the entire universe and the power to govern it? Who is this who questions without knowledge?" God never directly answered Job's question. Instead, he responded with a series of questions as if to say, "Don't worry, I've got this." In the end, Job could only place his hand over his mouth and learn to trust in the one who knows all. And that is what we must do as well. Evil is not a question to be answered or a riddle to be solved. It's something to be overcome. When the divine presence took human form and came down to live among us, in the midst of all our war, disease, suffering, and evil, what did he do? He did not simply snap his fingers to erase all the pain. He didn't shout in anger, nor did he cower in fear. He didn't even spare his own son from the suffering. Instead, he bore all, every bit of it. He suffered patiently, absorbed it, and crushed it permanently. And with eyes full of compassion, he looks at you and me, saying, "Come, let's do this together. I will show you." God doesn't just give us an answer, he gives us himself. There's a scene from Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov that stays with me. In it, the Grand Inquisitor, representing evil incarnate, blames Christ for all the suffering in the world. He accuses Christ of giving humanity freedom, but not the strength to bear it. He claims that if Christ had taken away freedom, there would be no suffering, no war, no hunger, no death. He says that because of Christ, millions have suffered, died, and will continue to suffer. But Christ's response was not words. He did not argue. He did not speak in anger or even in fear. Instead, he quietly approached the Inquisitor and kissed him on his bloodless lips. That was all his response. The old man, shaken by this simple, profound gesture, opened the door and told him to go. "Never return," he said, sending him into the dark alleys of the world. So, what was Christ's response to evil? It wasn't anger, nor words of retaliation, but a silent, compassionate act of love. I don't believe the real question is, why does God allow bad things to happen? We may never fully understand the answer to this, and that's okay. But what I think we should ask instead is, what is my response to this evil? How do I respond to all the pain and suffering around me? Do I throw myself into despair, cursing the darkness and the suffering? Or do I light a candle, however small, to push it back? How do I respond when the evil touches my friends, my family, my neighbors? Do I blame the whole universe, or do I simply show up and sit with them in their pain, offering a steady presence? What about the evil that invades my mind, the struggles that torment my soul? Do I fight to overcome them, or do I let them control me? The problem of evil is real, and it's terrifying, but we can't let it define us. Terrible things will happen. We can't control that, but we can choose how we respond. Do we let it overcome us, or do we rise above it? Love in the midst of evil is one of the hardest things we will ever do. But we don't have to do it alone. We have a powerful friend who has already walked this path, who understands what you're going through. And he looks at you with all the love and strength of the universe, saying, "Come on, let's do this